Good evening, my beautiful crime family. Are you ready for tonight? Tonight's going to be a good night. As you know, we got Mr. Andrew Myers here, and we're going to have some fun for sure. And so I'm going to get right to it and say hello to some of my friends out here. Moonflower, my girl, good to see you. Latina, good to see you, my girl. Crime Vault, good to see you. Nikki Watson, good to see you. You Killer Crab, my beautiful, good to see you. Mr. Thomas, my brother, good to see you. Sherlock, good to see you. Rach, my girl, good to see you. Crime Spy, good to see you. And Kathleen, my girl, good to see you. Hope Norris, good to see you. And there's a lot of chatters out there. Michelle Weddle, good to see you. And all right, we're gonna roll. Good to see you, girl. Okay, we're gonna get back to the meat and potatoes, I guess to call it, or the nuts and bolts, or whatever it is, and introduce Mister the attorney, Mister Andrew Myers.
Hey guys, how
Good
are you? Hey
evening.
Tommy. Hey
How you
Tommy.
doing, man, buddy?
I'm hanging in there. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Good.
Yeah. So, what's up? How you doing? That's the question.
Just another day, another 25 cents hanging in there.
Right, right. It's gone up from a penny, though, right?
Yeah, well you're an old musician, so you know it doesn't come easy, right?
Yeah, you average out everything you made over a career, and if you average out all the hours you spent learning how to play and all the nights you fall asleep with your guitar, yeah, it's probably about a penny an hour. If
Plus
that.
don't forget the cost of the equipment and the roadies and
Right,
the stuff
right, right.
the stuff that's constantly breaking and the amplifiers that get grounded and you got to fix them and all that stuff. It's just like
Right,
podcasting. People think, "Oh, you podcasters, you're in it for the money." It's so
right,
expensive. All the money you sink into this, and then you make a few measly
right,
dollars, and they begrudge it to you. Just
right. Yeah, yeah.
anyhow. What's up? What's up?
Well, we're going to get into some Kohbergers today.
Okay.
Kohbergers. Yeah, hamburger and, cheese and Kohberger.
The case is
There's a
nuts.
Kohberger. Who was it who said there was a Kohberger special or something? I can't remember who it was. Oh my God,
Oh
I caught
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. The case.
back to the Kohberger special.
The case went off the rails some time ago, and the problem is nobody's putting it
Right.
back on. They're still driving a locomotive further from the tracks.
Oh my God, this case has really got me going, and there's going to be some questions. Of course, you know that.
Sure.
uh, from me and hi Yoli,
Hey
your
Yoli, how
Yoli.
are you?
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
I just I just recorded 2 episodes with Yoli
Right,
today.
yeah.
They'll be dropping over
Oh,
the weekend. So yeah,
oh,
she's
okay. All right, good, good.
as you may or
Yeah.
may not know, my co-host is Lainey Law, and she's on vacation. So
Right.
Yoli was good enough
Oh,
to
okay.
yeah, Yoli was good enough to sit in for Lainey, and she did a great job.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. Yeah, yeah. I've been watching. I don't always comment because I'm a lot of times I watch it on my Xbox through the TV,
Okay, that's cool.
so I
That's
can't. There's no how to say anything.
We'll try not to hold
Uh,
that against you.
well, one of the things I want to ask about is
Yeah.
there's a lot of rumors around, but the stingray stuff.
Yeah.
What are you thinking on that? What's your thoughts on
I don't know. Do you think that they were using them in Idaho? I mean, people say, "Oh, it's controlled. Oh, only certain people in the FBI have it." I had an investigator that told me about these things years ago, and he worked with a
that?
guy that had one, and it's very hush hush,
Oh, really?
secret. But yeah, the police use them. Federal agents use them. I don't know. Do you think that they were used? I mean, I don't know. I can give.
The
I
only
can
the
talk.
only thing that makes me wonder is that where they said there was like 50 FBI agents there before it even happened. And I'm wondering why they were all and there's so much. I've always said that the hub area there, that whole area,
I
and
know.
so it makes me wonder, and then that bust with that Jesse Bailey that happened, in where was it? Spokane, was it?
You know what? People are only too fast to correct me if I pronounce a name wrong. Like instead of saying Edelman, I say Edelberg. I
Right.
get people jumping down my throats. So that intrigues me. That
We
people
got to
say,
be perfect. You know that. We got to be perfect.
well, so if somebody wants to jump down my throat and give me a confirmed link of what it was the FBI was doing there, please do so, because it's been said that they were there, but I'd really like to know more about that. I really would like to.
Me too.
I like to stick to the law because that's my forte at this point. And so,
Right. Well, what would be the laws on the stingray? I guess that would be my question.
well, they're regulated. From what my limited research has indicated, they're regulated. I mean, federal agents can do pretty much whatever they want. They have their own laws, as you know. They don't even
Right.
provide discovery. They do investigations, and they don't reveal all the
LE,
information.
what if LE was using one? What would the laws be then?
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, they've got to provide it to Mr. Kohberger's attorneys, Ian Taylor. I mean, if they want to play cute that, oh, yeah, we have information, but we can't give it to you, don't fool around with me. Give it to Ian Taylor in advance of the trial, or it's not going to go in. I mean, in the Murdoch trial, all the stuff was provided by the prosecution to the defense.
Right.
And
Yep.
the prosecution and the defense had a good relationship, and the FBI went in with their cast report and everything else. And so if it's out there, produce it. If you're not producing it, you're full of what. That's
Right.
all.
Well, then the way they're not producing it,
Yeah.
that's what makes me wonder what they're trying to hide. You know what I mean? What is it you think? Why they won't give it to them?
Well,
Is it because they don't have it? They don't have it, like they say.
They always cite these 4 phony baloney reasons for why everything's secret in all of these motions to seal. It could, endanger. It could endanger informants. It could endanger a witness. It's bad for the public safety. Yeah, okay. I think one of the other reasons they should put a subset for. We don't know what we're doing. We made a mistake. We don't have the evidence. So. I hate to be that cynical, but at this point, a year and a half after the crime, they're still fighting.
It's just crazy. Do you actually think it's going to go to trial?
Of course. How could you say it wouldn't? I mean, Ian Taylor says he's innocent.
Yeah.
He wants to be exonerated. Why wouldn't it go to trial?
Well, there's a lot of people thinking that maybe Bill Thompson will fold
and dismiss the case.
Yeah,
and pigs will fly. No, at this point,
they got a lot of money sunk into this. But I almost feel sorry for them. I think on doing that because I don't know what they're gonna, what are they gonna present? They don't. To me, it just doesn't seem like they got a whole lot.
No, and the big, to me, earth-shattering thing that's happened most recently is this motion that Ann Taylor filed last week. It's the defendant's response to the state's motion to limit testimony. And in it, she says, in the state's motion, the state contends that the affidavit of probable cause is irrelevant at this stage. So, I mean, the state is saying that the affidavit of probable cause is irrelevant. What the heck does that mean? I go back and forth. There's a couple of different interpretations, but it's all speculation because this is a response to a document that the state never filed. You can't find the actual state's motion to limit testimony. I've been watching the ICOR website. It's not on there. It says that it was filed on May 10th of 2024. It wasn't.
Yeah, they skipped right over it.
And so I actually, I don't care. I'm an attorney. I called the court clerk's office in the second district
Did you?
division court in Moscow, Idaho.
Uh-huh.
I got a voicemail. So I left a message, just simply, I've got this motion. I'd like to know what the other motion is all about. Could I please have a copy of it? And I said, if you can't post it on the ICOR website, could you fax it or email it? And I left my fax or email. And I also emailed the defense office in Ladle County to the attention of Ann Taylor. And I also emailed William Thompson. And when none of them got back to me, I knew it was them. So,
none of them, man.
Why? What are they hiding? So all we can do,
I don't know.
It's almost like they want us to speculate. It's almost like they want us to keep speculating. Say, oh, see those people out there? They're stupid. They don't know. They just speculate. Well, if you don't give us the stuff, what do you want us to do? You want me to dance and whistle disky? Come on, man. I'm like, does this mean the affidavit of probable cause is gone? Or does it just mean they can't defend it anymore? Or does it mean that they're moving on to a different stage? Because it says
it's irrelevant
at this stage. It's irrelevant at this stage. So I don't know. What does that mean? They're going into a different time warp?
Are they saying that it was relevant when it was relevant when you get the search warrant or whatever,
right?
Or to arrest them, but now it's not relevant because that's over.
Well,
that's
remember
how they got it.
This is the same attorney. The guy that wrote that, the prosecutor, that's the same attorney that got extremely upset and started pointing his finger and talking about ethical violations because the jury pool potential survey was being done, and 400 people have now been exposed to this information, and that's false. And then he goes into a hearing that he knows is public, and thousands, if not more, people are going to be watching it, and he reads the stuff off. So it's the same attorney.
Right.
How can you use logic and reason and analytical skills to figure out what might be behind the state's status at this point? I can only guess that it's one of two things. It comes before this motion to compel that's coming up at the end of the month. It was supposed to be this past week, but then it was continued until the end of this month, May 30th. And it's the fifth motion to compel. And there have been, 15 requests for discovery. And so I can only guess. I think you mentioned before Ray and the alibi. And then the other thing it could possibly be, or maybe both, the IgG DNA. And Ann Taylor hasn't given up. She's been very aggressive, as she should be, with respect to defending a guy that they want to impose the death penalty on. So she's been unrelenting, and she wants to get to the bottom of the IgG DNA, as well she should. She's doing the right thing. So those are my two guesses.
Right.
And so at this stage, the probable cause affidavit is irrelevant because it's not stood the test of time. And so, now he's stepping things up. But why it hasn't been filed?
What can they do? What happens if, let's say that, what happens if, that they prove that, a lot of the PCA is garbage, like it's not true?
Well, that's a good question. They can continue to hold Mr. Kohberger because, then they went and indicted him. They went around, there was supposed to be this public hearing. And instead of going forward to the public hearing right about a year ago now, they went behind everybody's back and they did a indictment to a secret grand jury. So they can still hold him based on the grand jury indictment, but it speaks pretty poorly if it turns out that, the stuff that's in the probable cause affidavit is, fading away. It just, like I said before, it hasn't stood the test of time, has it?
Right. Right. I guess I'm having some problems with my. Is that any better out there, people? Is that any better? Hello, hello. I'm having problems with the
Yeah, your audio is
audio.
it's doing
Muffled, they
this.
say.
It's doing this thing.
Okay. Is it better? They're saying it's better? Okay, good. Thank you. So yeah, that whole thing is just got me thrown for a loop. And so you're saying it's a good question? I mean, what I don't get it. How can they lie to get? I don't see why he's not free. I really don't.
Well, Ann Taylor, in her response to the state's mystery motion, cited 3 cases, and Yoli and I went over the 3 cases today, and the cases all kind of focus on secret informants, confidential informants, and the reliability of confidential informants. And Idaho courts in the past have played fast and furious with secret informants and kind of let them go under the radar. And there's a procedure in the Idaho court. Now, bear in mind, I'm only licensed in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, but I'm able to do research. I'm able to look up cases, and I read the 3 or 4 cases that Ann Taylor cited in her response to the mystery motion. And they focus on probable cause and motions to suppress. So Idaho has Idaho has a specific procedure that was not followed in the Hosey case. And the case went up all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court told the district court, guys, you got to do this over again. And you got to follow the procedure. So the case actually didn't come out the defense's way in the end. But at least that case is precedent for the fact that an informant needs to undergo scrutiny in a specific type of hearing under the Idaho procedural rules to determine that that secret confidential informant is reliable before that can be used to establish probable cause to get a warrant. So I find that really telling that she is citing these cases now when the prosecution is saying, well, the probable cause affidavit, it's irrelevant. Really? So
yeah. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever ran in your career? Have you ever ran across a case like this?
No, never. I don't think anybody has. I mean, that's why this case is blown up to the proportions that it has. I mean, a probable cause affidavit establishes a base. It's like cooking. You make a base gravy, but then you add to it, and you add the probable cause affidavit establishes a baseline. Okay, now we have probable cause. We can arrest and hold. But then then they do research and they do investigation and then they build the case. This is kind of like, it's like building a skyscraper and they laid the foundation. Now they're halfway up to the 100th story and oops, the foundation's no good. So Ann Taylor warned us all in the last couple of hearings that she's going to be doing motions to suppress. And so she, in my view, that's what she's laying the groundwork for now by saying, look, you don't have probable cause. If you have a secret informant, you didn't vet him out properly. And so remember in the last hearing, they were talking to the judge, the last couple of hearings, they were talking to the judge about having hearings every 2 weeks. Remember that?
Right.
So she's going to be doing motions to suppress. And I wouldn't be surprised if, a lot of the location data that the state claims that they had in the PCA is
to suppress. Now, Ann Taylor's going to be doing that?
Yeah. She said in the last couple of hearings, she said, I am going to do motions to suppress. So what that means is
suppress what? What are they?
Evidence that the state may or may not have. Evidence that the state may or may not have.
Okay. So she's doing kind of the same thing they are then, right?
Well, no, the state is just withholding evidence of their own volition. They're not coming. Oh, okay. Here's the difference. A motion to suppress. A motion to suppress says that for whatever reason, fruit of the forbidden tree, you got that evidence illegally, and so it should be suppressed. Let me give you an example. The first case that Ann Taylor cites is the State versus Thompson. Now, this is not Bill Thompson. This is Julie Thompson. And in that case, the state ran a pen register on Julie Thompson, and a pen register just simply tells police what telephone numbers were called by a telephone and how long those calls were. That's it. It's just a register of the telephone numbers that were contacted and how long the calls were. It does not provide the substance of the telephone call or the audio of the telephone. So the investigators started this pen register on poor Julie Thompson, and based on that, she was calling a drug dealer all the time. So then, based on that, then they got a warrant. They got a warrant to follow her, and then they found her going out and dealing drugs at various places, including an Idaho prison. So now Julie Thompson faces charges in the courts in Idaho for dealing drugs. Well, her attorney comes in and says, wait a minute. You did not have a warrant for the pen register. You just did it. So the court says, well, I don't know. And the court finally issued a motion to suppress the drug information that was obtained by wiretapping her phone. They said that the wiretap was illegally obtained because the police did not have a warrant for the pen register. So the motion to suppress the telephone calls was granted, and the telephone calls were all thrown out. Now, just as a side note, that's not federal law. That's not federal law. The United States Supreme Court has said a pen register does not require a warrant. But Idaho and the states are all allowed to have additional protections, and the Idaho Constitution and the Idaho Supreme Court do extend that additional protection. And so based on the fact that the Idaho law enforcement started this pen register without the benefit of a warrant, then the subsequent evidence was suppressed, and it's called the fruit of the poison tree doctrine because they got it illegally. So that's what a motion to suppress is. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, so is that what they're talking about in the wiretap thing? Wasn't like a wiretap mentioned in one of those documents?
It may well be. It may. I think Ann Taylor in this document that she filed,
wasn't there something said?
She's giving us all a warning that there's evidence out there that we're going to suppress. There's evidence, and she said we're going to file multiple. Remember that? She said in the last hearing, we're going to file multiple motions to suppress. So if there's a wiretap, kaboom. I thought what was interesting was these cases involve secret confidential sources. So a lot of people have talked about who would the secret confidential informant be?
Right.
If there is one, who would have ratted out Kohberger? First of all. Second of all, what was his ratting this person? What was his ratting Kohberger out based upon? Third of all, is the secret informant reliable? The court has to analyze, is the person reliable? So I don't know. Do you think that there's a secret informant they're not telling us about? Who would it be? Demetrius?
That's what they're supposed to. That's what's supposed to be out there.
Would it be Ashland Couch? Would it be, I don't know. There's all kinds of crazy rumors, none of which I subscribe to, but none of them have been disproven about Bethany. What about Bethany?
Right.
I don't know.
I still think she might have that exculpatory evidence. Now, this has not been verified, but I learned last night that she got a DUI at that Wawa Park.
Wawa. Yeah.
She got one in October of 22. And I don't know if that's true or not, that I haven't verified it, but it's going around right now. It's going around the rumor mill. Put it that way.
Who, Bethany or Ashland?
Bethany.
Okay.
Bethany got a DUI at Wawa Park.
Well,
in October.
That would be we could look into that. I mean, that would be verifiable. The fact of
you would think so, right?
The fact of an arrest or the fact of charges is a matter of public record. You could just go into whatever the local court is.
That's what makes me think it's probably not true, but I don't know.
I mean, there's this whole thing about, I mean, you know, come on. I mean, I hate to even say it, but there's a rumor that maybe Bethany and Brian were an item.
Yeah, I've heard that many times too. Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, there's people out there that say, "Oh, they're very careful. They say it as a question. Were Bethany and Brian an item? We're not saying they were, but you know, it's very suspicious that Brian was there that night, and we're not saying that they were, but you know, so I don't know. It's great. So what did you think about? I'm sorry, you're asking the questions, but I have one for you.
No, go ahead.
What did you think about Ashland Couch's non-statement that she made? What, about 10 days ago?
I just wonder about the timing of it. I find kind of odd, Andrew. Why didn't she come out a long time ago?
Yeah, and I didn't really think that she had much to say. I think it was more. She was more trying to assuage the feelings of the families. I mean, I do feel really badly for the families. I've talked to a couple of family members actually, and I feel badly for them. And so I think that she just says, you know, look, I'm going to do something to try and help kids with social media. You know, they should stay away from social media. And, you know, so I think, you know, I don't think she said anything substantive beyond that. Now, let's see. Yoli just posted, if the prosecution forgot to file the motion and served it on defense, you would think they would have filed it by now. I agree, Yoli.
Yeah. Forgot to file the motion. Right.
Yoli is, I like Yoli. She's really smart. And I love having her sitting in for Laney. We had a minor disagreement. She thinks that maybe the prosecution forgot to file it, which is possible. But I think being the conspiracy theorist, for example, I'll go to my grave never buying that Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK. And if he did, he wasn't the sole assassin. But anyhow,
I don't think so either.
Being the conspiracy theorist that I am, I think there's some intent there. I think they intentionally didn't file it because, you know, it was a week ago and we still don't have it. Why don't we have it? Why is it filed? But Yoli might be right. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they just, you know, I mean, I find it unlikely, but, you know, it's possible.
Well, somebody from that or the person that runs the website or something, but you'd think it'd be up by now. And you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the prosecution office in that county, Ladog County, I mean, I don't know, but I assume they have paralegals, assistants, legal assistants, secretaries, you know, staff. And I would assume that somebody would have covered and made sure that they filed. It's a two-step process. You know, if I write a motion, I have to do three things really. I have to do two things. One, I have to serve it. And at the end of your motion, every state calls it something different, but you have to serve the other side. See here, there's a thing here called the certificate of delivery that verifies that you gave it to the other side. Okay, in my jurisdictions, we call it a certificate of service. I sent it to the other attorney. And then the other thing you have to do is file it with the court. In the old days, you know, we put a stamp on an envelope and mailed it, but now you do it electronically. So that's a two-step process. And I guess it's possible that they did send it to the other side, but they forgot to file it. It's a possibility. And the third thing you have to do is obviously keep a copy of it. You know, I worked at a place one time very briefly when I got out of law school. It was so sloppy. They would file originals and then you wouldn't have a copy.
Oh, jeez. Right. The good old paper days.
I got the hell out of there, and they don't exist anymore. But anyhow, so it's a three-step process. You save a copy, you send a copy to the opposing counsel, and then you file it with the court simultaneously. And all three of those are important. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Wade, I don't know if Andrew that would be a question for him or not. It says Tommy, Andrew, and chat. Why haven't we seen any body cam or information on Brian's August traffic stop? I believe the traffic stop that was shown was October's. There is one traffic stop that is missing, and everybody has been wondering why the body cam hasn't been released on that. You know anything about that by any chance?
No, I wish I did. No, I wish I
Yeah,
did.
maybe something you want to dig into.
Sometimes these things disappear for various reasons. I mean, it's a
Oh,
possibility.
I bet.
It could just be inadvertent. The thing wasn't working, or it could be because it was erased because the officer said or did something he shouldn't have said or done. That happens. Don't tell me it doesn't, but I don't know.
Right.
Good point. Good point.
Okay, well, let's take a peek. Here comes Stump Andrew time.
Won't be too hard. It won't be very hard.
Okay, let's see what we got. Questions out there, guys. I know I've missed a whole bunch. I've been kind of seeing them, but it's hard to keep up with chat when you're talking.
Yeah.
They don't realize that sometimes. I see this. You got to keep it towards the law. Crime Spy isn't Ashland involved with the Jack DeCore after deaths of Idaho? I don't know that for a fact. I don't think Andrew knows that for a fact. We got to keep the questions. Keep the questions to law. Pebbles, I know you got something. I know she's got questions.
What does Pebbles have?
What does she what?
What does Pebbles have? I see a question, but I'm having a hard time reading it.
Oh, does she got one down there now? Okay, let's see.
When she said that Kaylee lived there since 2020, I was like, okay, that explains her giving that Atty when it disappeared. Oh, you got it. That Atty when she reported the sighting of the missing persons she saw. The thing that intrigued me is that Ashland was supposedly friends with what's Demetrius's girlfriend's name? It slips my mind right now. Emma. That's the thing that intrigues me. Do you think that's true? That Ashland and Emma were friends? Emma Bailey. They were linked together by social media.
Yeah, they were.
Pebbles is asking what?
Okay, go ahead.
Opinions on Cy Ray and his technology. Well, I did two episodes. The first one was just on that Colorado decision, which he disputes. The second one was on two very recent federal decisions that went both ways. And, I mean, I don't have a degree in engineering. I'm the son of an engineer, and my co-host Laney is an engineering student. So maybe we should ask them. I mean, my understanding of his technology is that he takes all the data from all the cell phones and he plugs it into software, and the software displays where the phone was. That's my understanding of the software. And if that's true, what a great thing. But I guess it also, the version 2 of his software also brings in not only the cell information, but also the GPS. And if that's true, and I don't know, but if that's true, how fantastic.
Right. She's on vacation, Pebs.
You and Pebs are tight, huh? Pebs.
Yeah, she's been a mod. She's been a mod forever for me. I think like my second mod or something. Way back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wayne B asks, would Cy get involved if he wasn't confident? Probably not, because
right.
He has a lot to lose. So,
And the first time being on the defense, that's kind of shocking too.
Yeah.
That kind of, and here's something. A question I got. What do you think about Ann Taylor coming out and saying she believes Brian to be totally innocent?
I don't think a lot of people realize how important that is, because a lot of defense
It
attorneys,
is.
it's really important because a lot of defense attorneys will tell you correctly that their job is to make sure that their client has a fair trial. Now, I've done a little bit of defense. I'm not an expert at it, but I've done some defense, and I went to a seminar at one point of some really expert defense attorneys who are top of their game, and they said a lot of them agreed that they don't want to know if their client is guilty or innocent. They just want to be able to walk out of the courtroom when it's all done and know in their heart and their mind that they were certain to preserve the defendant's right to a fair trial. So that's what most of them feel like. Whether they don't want to know if their client is guilty or innocent, they just want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and that they, made sure that if there's a motion to suppress to be filed, they did it. If there's evidence to object to, they did it. And so for her to actually come out and say that she believes that he's innocent, that's significant. That's really significant. So
I thought it was too. I thought that was underplayed, actually.
Yeah.
Because and especially being a what do you call public defender, that
right.
They usually just kind of go for the the best plea bargain, don't they?
I don't want to paint with a broad brush, because public defenders, there are really good ones and there are other ones.
There is, yes.
But she I think we talked about this in the other episode I was on with you. She's a level above average public defenders because she's certified for death penalty cases, and it's
correct.
It's a level above. It's a level that
right. Okay.
I don't know if it was a really good analogy, but I analogized it to the difference between a regular driver's license and a CDL driver's license. I mean, most of us can get a driver's license. You read the manual, you go for the test. But to get a CDL, it's a level above, and you have a lot of constraints on you. You get busted for one DWI, you're done. So, so she's a higher level than the normal average Joe. And I saw one of your people said, do I think she's doing a good job? From what I see, I think she's doing a great job. She's pushing and pushing and pushing, and people don't like her. But so what? I learned a long time ago.
I love her.
I learned a long time ago that you set foot in the courtroom, 50% of the people are going to love you and 50% of the people are going to hate you. So to the haters, read between the lines.
When she came out and said, she 100%, is behind Brian Kohberger and his innocence, that told me a lot right there. And then the way she just doesn't give up. She just keeps putting it out there. Yeah. And I don't have no qualms about her at all.
No. And she's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Moonflower Lassa, Tommy.
Lassa, right.
Lassa, Tommy.
Lassa,
you know your people, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Tommy, if the prosecution cannot come up with the process they used to come up with Brian, will the case be dismissed? Well, I don't think it'll be dismissed, but it's certainly a factor that will weigh in the final analysis. I mean, the prosecution will argue. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just telling you what they're going to argue. They're going to argue that, well, hey, his DNA was on the sheath, so forget about the IgG DNA or the process by which we found him, because the DNA was on the sheath. So now the argument switches over to, is that reliable? And that involves at least two arguments. One is touch DNA enough? And I did an episode where I cited some courts that say no. And then the second argument is, so what his DNA is on the sheath? It doesn't mean it was on the sheath. That doesn't mean he was there. So that's my answer to your question. It's not a be all end all kind of a situation.
So you don't think it'll get dismissed over?
No,
not
like over that. No, it won't. Okay. It won't be dismissed. Not over that. No. A lot of people. There's these cases are like, I don't know. They're like a diesel engine. There's so many moving parts, and just because one fails doesn't necessarily mean the whole thing, fails. I mean, Andrew. Hey, Yoli, you have a question? Oh, there's your puppy dog. We both have dogs that have arthritis, so I hope your dog is doing well tonight. Andrew, what do you think of Cy Ray having a podcast? A lot of episodes. Do you think prosecution will try to watch those episodes to get some impeached statement? Of course they will. Yeah, people do that all the time. That's a new thing. Even in my personal injury cases, the insurance companies, I bring a claim for a car accident injury or a slip and fall injury or something like that, and the insurance companies have their people. They have office assistants, legal assistants, minions.
Right.
Sit in a skyscraper with nothing better to do between their lattes, and so yes, right. they even on this low level, they screen for social media. And I had a case not that long ago where my client had been injured in an accident, and she ended up going to a third world country and helping them build a school and a water system. So that's a very low level compared to this. This is a personal injury case with a mediocre local New England insurance company. So yes, absolutely, I think the prosecution will have someone watch every single episode. Just now,
do you think that's probably good, Yoli? I like that question, and the
great question.
It is a great question because especially after the last one that he put out on Colorado, it was like they come out with he got that one case dropped, and you can already see what's going on there, and then so he comes out
swinging
with he comes out swinging with the Colorado one to show that this is what really happened. And
the first thing every attorney tells their client is don't make any statements to anyone about anything. And I do the same thing even in my personal injury cases. Don't talk to anybody about anything, and don't do anything on social media. So because of that. And so I'm sure Mr. Ray is a former police officer for many, many, many years. And as a guy who's testified in court for many, many, many cases, I'm sure he's smart enough to know to watch what he says. Because absolutely, the answer to my question is absolutely they will watch. To see if there's anything. They'll not only watch it, they'll record it and transcribe it and send memos out to everybody and digest it. And don't laugh. That's the way it works.
It's true. I'm laughing because I know it's true. Yep.
Yeah, it's true. Sorry.
Yep.
Good question though.
Yep.
And I hope the dog is all right. My dog was just crying for attention.
I don't know if he wants to answer that one, but I'll ask him. This is from Kathleen. So,
hi, Kathleen. How are you?
Yeah, Kathleen.
yeah. We've gone back and forth.
What's Andrew's thoughts? Guilty of or innocent? Ooh,
I like to
to the point.
I like to maintain my objectivity. As somebody that wants some credibility. And like I said before, half the people are always going to love you and half the people are going to hate you. But I really think the case has an uphill battle. When I first heard about the case, I was like everybody else, watching NBC, ABC, CBS. Oh, he did it. He absolutely did it. But then, I was talking to a friend of mine who used to help me with the podcast. He said, wait a minute, Andy, you have bushy eyebrows, don't you? I'm like, where were you that night? And I'm like, I'm thinking. And so I started reading, like yourself and many others, I started really reading the probable cause affidavit and scratching my head and finding a lot of questions and finding a lot of holes. And I think he's innocent. On the last episode, I told you my theory. So
right. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I think he's innocent too.
But
what can we say?
I don't know. You asked me my opinion. That's my opinion. I do not know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So if there's some new evidence that comes out, okay.
Okay, here's one from Thomas, and he's usually got good questions. Now that they are operating under the how do you pronounce that?
TUI process. Yeah.
TUI process. Do you believe the FBI will turn over the cast report and not just a draft?
Well, I wish I had my graphic to bring up to you because I did an episode on this, I think about a week ago, where I pointed out the TUI regulations that the Justice Department has promulgated that apply to the FBI. And there are about 6 different reasons why they can refuse to turn over the information. One of them is to protect a secret informant unless that secret informant consents to the disclosure of the information. One of the other reasons why and this is all in the federal law, one of the other reasons that they can refuse to release the information is because of an ongoing investigation, that this might impede the ongoing investigation. One of the other reasons, which I didn't think of applying to this case, but it was impressed upon me that it does, is revealing trade secrets. The FBI can refuse to disclose information under TUI if there are trade secrets. How does that apply to this case? Well, what if they're using software? Cy-Ray has his software. Certainly, the FBI has their software. What if they're using a Stingray, and that is a trade secret? Right? So there are a number of reasons enumerated in the federal TUI regulations that validly allow the FBI to refuse to provide the information. So when people first hear about TUI, oh wow, yeah, listen to this. They can send off to the FBI to get this information. Well, but if you read into the TUI regulations, they can refuse for valid reasons. And the other reason, one of the other reasons is for procedural reasons. So if you've ever dealt with anybody ever at any level of the federal government, they can snare you up in procedural reasons from now to eternity. So no, I don't believe the FBI will turn over the cast report and not just a draft. They have to before the trial, but I think they'll delay because I don't think they have the information.
They have to? I thought they didn't actually have to, or do they have to?
If it's going to be used in the trial, they have to. How can they use the information if they don't disclose it? How can they use it at trial if they don't disclose it?
But can't the FBI just say we're not handing it over?
Well, then it can't be used at trial. Then it can't be used at trial.
Right.
Doesn't that tell you right there that there's something fishy? I don't know how close you follow.
Here, you know what? I'm going to show you a quick, just about 10 seconds of a video. Okay. And because this has always got to me from day one, the first day I seen it, a long time ago. You will know what this is here. I'm sure.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's a good one.
Doesn't want to play.
Classic, like back in the 70s. Oh, come on.
What is this?
Okay, hold on. You'll see.
Oh.
Here we go.
All right, now our other top story, an update in the murder investigation to know that have just emerged today. First, after a video was taken on the night of the murders from a downtown business, police have confirmed they have now identified a man who was referenced in a security video by 2 of the victims from the night of the murder. Police are saying that man is now cooperating with police. Also tonight, after an extensive search for a white Hyundai Elantra, Moscow police believe one was spotted near the crime scene the night those students were killed, and they have long said that whoever was in the car could have critical
in this investigation.
Here, this is what I'm trying to get.
Whoever was in
hold on.
Chief did give a full breakdown today of where the investigation stands right now. Here's what he had to
say. Here we go.
Right, there's been some questions about the leadership in this investigation. What I want people to know is this is a Moscow Police Department investigation where you
and he makes that even more present at the end of this. Do you think there was a rift could there have been a rift between the LE and the FBI?
I think what he just said is false because the state police were called in right away. The Idaho State Police were called in right away to take over the, their homicide investigation unit was called in immediately to take over the investigation. So I believe that what he just said is false.
Okay. I took it as kind of like he was trying to tell the FBI that this is our investigation. That's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why he said it the way he said it, and then made it even more known. It was like he was trying to tell him I don't know, like small town cop, we're not going to let the FBI take over this. Don't you think he should have let the FBI take this over?
I don't know how it works in Idaho. I do know in my 2 jurisdictions that I'm licensed in, the state police have a homicide investigation unit, and the district attorney's office has a homicide investigation unit. And so the local police are only responsible really for securing the crime scene until these people can get there. And that's supposed to happen immediately, right away. So the primary agent in the investigation in my jurisdictions is the state. The state police come in, the attorney general or the district attorney come in and monitor and supervise. And so it's a state function. The FBI is called in to assist because they have this technology we've talked about before. Right. The FBI has the superior ability because not all the states have all of that. I mean, the state taxpayers are always hammering away. We don't want to spend money. We don't want our property taxes to go up. We don't, so the FBI is brought in as really an advisory component. So they're supposed to work together. Have there been problems? Of course there have, but so it's really a statement. How they do it in Idaho, I don't know. And I don't know why the chief would say a thing like that, because the state of Idaho state police were brought in right away to watch over that. And Red Rum just said it. Fry went to the FBI Academy in an accelerated program. So why is he saying it's my investigation? It's my investigation. Yeah, I don't believe
right,
that. No.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they do things in Idaho. I really don't. But it was a mess, because not only the 8-hour delay, but then Brett Payne, who was named the chief investigator, didn't get there for another 4 hours. And I'm sure
that's a little crazy too. And what is your opinion on that?
I think it's nuts. I think that's crazy. I think the whole case could fall. I think there's reasonable doubt right then and there. What happened in those 12 hours between the time that law enforcement says that it all went down between 4 and 4:25, and then when Brett Payne got there 12 hours later, there's reasonable doubt right there. So it's crazy.
Right. And there was so many people and police that went in there at first, right? I mean, when they were first got there, and
neighbors,
right?
Friends.
Yeah.
It's nutty. It's just totally nutty.
All right. Okay. Why did the original lead investigator get replaced? I can't recall his name. I don't remember I thought Payne was the first one, wasn't he? Or was there another one?
He was the lead guy locally. He was the lead guy in the local police. Yes. Administratively, people are replaced sometimes for no nefarious reason. Sometimes it could be because they messed up their overtime applications or something like that. But often it's just an administrator. So I wouldn't want to guess. That would be a guess on my part.
Right. Okay. I got a question for you. What about my butt? What is your
Oh, you mean the coroner? The coroner?
Yeah. The coroner, the lawyer, she's probably a plumber. I don't know.
Stop that. I have plumbers in my family, and they're good people. I have plumbers in my family.
Oh, so do I. So do I. Yeah,
they're
actually,
good people. So make fun of electricians, not.
You're right. My son is actually working for a plumber, and the master plumber lives right next to me, his uncle.
My grandson graduated. My grandson graduated from a vocational school last year, and he's working. He gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm very proud. We're all very proud. He'll probably make 10 times more money than me.
Right? Yeah.
So let's not make fun of plumbers. Let's make fun of electricians. We need electricians too. We need them too. So,
but I mean, what's the deal with her? What's
I don't know. I mean, the coroner's report has
I
never
mean,
been
as a
released.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you. As a
Oh, here we go.
lawyer, how would you attack this case?
As Ann Taylor, I would be as aggressive as she's being. I would go through every single line of the PCA and dispute it, file motions to suppress as she's about ready to do. I would question everything. I would file motions to suppress for all the reasons that we've talked about, the IgG, the DNA. I would really reach out. I mean, she said she had 400 witnesses. I would make sure that I interviewed each and every one of those neighbors and friends that were at the scene before the police. I hope, and I don't know, I haven't heard, but whoever the first police investigator was on the scene certainly should have sealed off the scene and gotten the names and addresses of all of the people that were there. And if I were the defense attorney, I would interview every single one of them. Absolutely. And find out who went in there, what they did, what they saw. Do they have any pictures? It kind of boggles my mind. I mean, most people that are in that age group, 20, 21, a little bit older, a little bit younger, they take pictures of everything. They take pictures of their lunch and post that. Look, I went to McDonald's and I got a Big Mac. Look, see the picture. So, I mean, there's got to be. It's true though. It's true. Don't you know people? Don't you know people that post pictures of their dinner? Here's my dinner I'm having.
Well, I do. I'm guilty. I do that.
There's a guy in my local town that he went to a bar and he posted a picture of his drink, and it's like, I don't think that's real bright, because what if you got stopped by a cop and the cop says, look, you were talking about watching people's social media. What if he gets busted for DOUI on the way home and the cop says, look, I got a picture of you bragging about your alcoholic drink. So I can't believe that people don't have pictures of that scene. And as gruesome as they might be, they might also be extremely probative as to what happened, how it happened, when it happened, what's going on, blood spatter, footprints. Forget about the latent footprints. There've got to be some real footprints. And if there aren't, who cleaned the place up? What did they use to clean it up? Are there any fingerprints? I would think, So, I mean, if I were Ann Taylor, I would be every bit as aggressive as she is being. I can't imagine being more aggressive, but, that's how I would approach the case.
So your opinion, she's being pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you're following the Karen Reed case in Massachusetts. Have you heard of that?
Not much. No, not much.
Okay.
I've heard of it, but yeah.
Well, I won't go down the rabbit hole, even though I'm watching it as much as possible and reading as much as possible. And I'll be dropping an episode tomorrow morning. But anyhow, Karen Reed has a fantastic team of attorneys. She has a really good attorney, a Boston defense attorney. But when they amped up the charges against her, she did her research and she brought in Los Angeles attorney Alan Jackson. And they also have another attorney by the name of Little. So she has an excellent team, Karen Reed does, of defense attorneys. And for every prosecution witness that comes in, her attorneys are grinding them up on cross-examination. And we're 3 weeks into the state's trial, the state's case. It's not even the defense case yet. We're 3 weeks into the prosecution's case. Karen Reed's attorneys are bringing their case in through the Commonwealth's witnesses. It's amazing.
Wow.
I would have a team of top-notch trial attorneys come in and have a plan and bring in their own.
That's what case. I worry about a little bit. Yeah, I worry about that a little bit. But because how many lawyers does he have? There's
3.
2, right? 3.
Well, there's Ann Taylor, there's Jay Logston, and what about I forget Elizabeth Massoff?
Oh yeah, and she's good. I actually like her. Yeah.
So there's 3 of them.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, that answers that question. Okay, so I got this one from Rach. This is a good one. Once upon a time, please ask his thoughts on the video with the missing audio they won't give and Taylor?
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
a good question. I know
That's
it's crazy.
Motion to suppress. Watch for a motion to suppress. Remember we were talking about motions to suppress before? Watch
You're
for
right.
her to do a motion to suppress the whole video. How can you have just a little bit of video and not all the video? How can that even be? That makes no sense at all. What people have told me is going on is that they're trying to put together this whole video of him driving along and getting to the scene, and they're putting it together with bits and pieces of security cameras and red light cameras and all the rest, and so they don't have it yet. Well, but if that's their goal to do that, it's been a year and a half. So I mean, I would do a motion to suppress the whole thing.
Here's what I think might be going on. I think it's going to come down to that intersection. Did he take, you either take a right or left to go to Moscow or go to the park? And I think it's going to come down, and I'll bet you money that's the video that they're withholding is at that intersection to either take the turn to Moscow or take the turn to the park. And why aren't that's my opinion on what they're holding back.
But if it goes their way, why would they withhold it? Why would they withhold it unless it doesn't go their way?
Exactly. And I think that's why they called in Cy Ray, because I think he can actually prove that he went the way of the park. He can prove that phone was at that park. I think that might be what's going on. I don't know. I don't. I'm just throwing this out there. Throwing it against the wall and see if it sticks. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do.
Right. Okay. Let's see what else we got here.
I like Yoli's comment here. Pebbles. In civil cases, some attorneys get aggressive in depositions, but I am sweet as pie because the goal is to get info at trial. It's another story. I agree with that a lot because when I first came out of law school and did depositions, I was aggressive. I was very aggressive, but I learned by watching attorneys on the other side get aggressive and just shutting down my clients. So yeah, you have to be friendly, bring them into the office, offer them coffee, talk about the weather, ask them, if they're comfortable, tell them you want to take, just a little bit of banter and bring down the atmosphere and make them feel comfortable. Because what's the old saying about how you get more flies with honey than the other?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
My poor dog was
I know this isn't an answer for you or a question for you, but I've always wondered this too: is who put the bar stools in front of the sliding doors? And if they said that the door was that Kohberger supposedly left. Yeah, go ahead. No,
take care. No, it's all right. I was gonna. Oh, darn dog! I was gonna lift her up and put her on the camera, but she ran away.
Oh, okay. She ran away.
She ran away. Who put the bar stools in front of the sliding doors? I mean, how would I know? Ask me a legal question.
Right.
Ask me a law question.
Yeah. But that's always made me wonder. I mean, he's supposed to have gone out there and it showed that those two were in front of the sliding door. And that makes me wonder. Ann Taylor agreed to tear. Oh yeah. Why? This is a good question. Why did Ann Taylor agree to tearing down the house?
Now that's a mystery. That's a mystery. I mean, Green wanted to do it, right? It was Green's idea. The president of the university. Oh, I think you disappeared. It was the idea of Scott Green at the university, and I think the prosecution was on board with it. And it doesn't make any sense to me why she would have agreed. Maybe only because she thought that it would be extremely prejudicial for people to go in there and see whatever they would see. It might be a horrible scene that would just prejudice the jury, that they would see, oh my God, there's blood spatter, there's blood on the floor, it's just so horrible. It would prejudice them to just make anybody in front of them feel guilty, because that happens. How many wrongful convictions have there been in the world because people just said?
Why would the prosecution want it tore down then? If there was so much blood, then you would think they'd want them to see that. And that's another thing that's got me stumped. You know, so that's my question. Why did the prosecution agree to tear it down?
Well, I don't know. It didn't. The whole thing didn't make sense to me. And at the time, they said, "Oh,
Right.
it's because we have all these lidar and radar and other models that show everything." But I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't buy it. If I saw these models on the computer, do they really tell you what the scene looks like? I mean, I don't know.
Yoli has something to say there.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the Karen Reed case.
She got schooled, she says.
Well, we did an episode on Brian Kohberger, and then I wanted her to stick around because Lainey wasn't there, and I don't like doing these things alone. So I had to coax her to stay for the Karen Reed episode, and so I had to give her a lot of background, which I think was good because I think I take for granted that people just know about the case, but it's really a Boston area case, and I had no idea that people outside of Boston aren't really paying attention to the case as much as we New Englanders are very geocentric, which is another way of saying we're snobs. So we think Boston is called the hub of the universe because we just think we're the center of the universe and everything else is like spokes of a bicycle tire. So I just assumed that everybody was following it, and our numbers are really low. People just aren't watching the episodes about the Karen Reed case. So I decided, let's go back to the beginning and talk about exactly what happened in the very beginning. And so maybe that will attract more viewers to maybe that'll attract more people because instead of just jumping into the middle of it, we gave the background of it. So I don't know. We'll see. You have Sherlock Holmes as one of your viewers. I'm impressed.
Yep. Yeah. She's
Wow.
a good one. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's a good question.
If size shows Brian to be at why, how can they still take this to trial? Well, credibility. That's what it's all about. I mean, unless you have a videotape which is authenticated and a foundation is laid and it absolutely positively proves he's there, any alibi is always subject to credibility. So
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
I mean, even if I come up with an alibi that I was at McDonald's and I bought a hamburger and I have the receipt and the girl behind the counter says, yeah, I remember Andy, he was there. All of that's subject to credibility. So, alibis are always subject to credibility.
Yeah, and they're going to attack. Believe me, they're going to attack Siray's software. They're going to attack. They're not going to just lay down.
No,
right?
No.
Yeah, they're not going to just lay down. So
well, we think that
we get excited. We get excited. Everybody gets excited and stuff, and sometimes you get excited. Then you have to come down to reality a little bit because he will be attacked. And I'm sure they're planning that already.
No, Kathleen, I do not. I haven't been into a McDonald's for years and years and years. I go to the gym. I don't eat red meat. All I eat is poultry and fish and not a lot of that because it's all poisoned. So, no, I haven't been to a McDonald's or a Burger King or any of those places for years. I was just using that as an example. And if you read the book Fast Food Nation, you will never take your kids to a McDonald's ever again because, well, I've said it
right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't go there I haven't been there in a long time. Yeah. Federal grand jury. They want to know about the federal grand jury.
What about it? It's a process. That's all. It's a process. I mean, a grand jury is seated, and it's not as good as a preliminary hearing because in a preliminary hearing, the defense can bring in their witnesses and they can cross-examine, whereas a grand jury is secret. by definition, the jurors aren't allowed to talk about the thing. It's conducted secretly in a
federal grand jury is Yoli's hollering here.
I don't know that it's any different. I don't know that it's any different, is it? I don't know that it's any different. I think they're secret too, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they're secret. In my memory of following some big federal cases that I've followed, I think it's the same
why is
way.
everybody's wondering, but federal. Why are they?
I think what they're saying is, why didn't the Kohberger case go to a federal grand jury? And if that's the question, it's because murder is a state crime. It's not a federal crime. It says unless it's done successfully in a number of different times, then it's a RICO violation, which is what they got Whitey Bulger on. But murder, generally speaking, is a state crime, and so it would be a state matter, not a federal matter.
Okay.
Did we finally stump Andrew? No. What? How did you stump me?
I didn't read that one.
Your person Kathleen there said, "Did we finally stump Andrew?"
They wish.
I'm answering the law questions. The fact questions I can't answer because I wasn't there.
Right.
I wasn't there. I can't say why the bar stools were in front of the window. I mean, I can't answer that. Hey, chat, we need more.
Wait. Here we go.
Oh, what?
Once from Pebbles, once upon a crime time, last hearing, the state said there was a federal grand jury held.
That's news to me.
Yeah, that's the last hearing. I'm gonna have to look into that one. I guess I don't remember this. I don't remember hearing that. Do you?
No, I don't. I've not heard that.
All right. Pebbles said yes, they sure did.
Okay. I'll look into that.
And I know she would definitely be one that wouldn't tell a lie.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know why the federal government would hold a grand jury, because it's pretty much exclusive jurisdiction of the state.
Yeah, Sherlock says the same thing too.
Yeah, somebody else said it. Somebody else, Yoli, said it was a mistake by BT. So,
okay. Did you hear that, guys? That was a mistake by the BT.
BT's made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, BT.
Yeah, he's made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. All right. I think they're running out of questions.
Okay.
Any more questions out there? Wait, no, I think they would submit evidence of either a sketch for the sheet was found. Well, this is a good question. Moonflower. Do you think they will submit evidence of either a sketch, photo, or video showing where the supposed sheath was found? Don't they almost have to? Don't they take pictures of everything? And
I would bet that they'll provide a photo to the jury. I would bet anything that they will provide a photo, because yes, they would have photographed the full scene. So. They would have photographed. That's standard operating procedure in a case like this, that the investigators go in, and before anything is touched or moved, everybody's told to clear out. These people that were out in the front yard, get out of here. And then the photographers go in and document everything. And so, yeah, I would imagine. I mean, I've seen some really gruesome photographs. I've seen some really, really gruesome photographs.
Bet. Yeah. I bet
and a lot of times, even in the courts that are more open than the Idaho court to cameras in the courtroom, they'll often have an order that certain photographs are not to be made public because of their gruesome nature. And there's a balancing test for that. The balancing test is whether it's more probative than prejudicial. And so each photograph is put through that test. And often in a case like this, they will find one photograph and submit that one only. Andrew, I would think they would videotape everything as law enforcement when. Yeah, of course. Yes. Video and still. Yes.
And,
Video and still. Yeah.
well, I hope I really hope. Do you think is the whole trial going to be public?
That's a good
in
question.
your opinion.
My guess would be yes, but he will control it. And I think that if we go back to the order that he issued back in November of 2023, there will be certain witnesses that will not be televised, and there will be certain evidence that will not be televised. If you, I remember
like Bethany, like Bethany.
Well, he didn't mention any specific names, but he did said that certain witnesses would want protection, and the court would take it on a witness by witness, case by case basis. So, my educated guess, and that's all it is an educated guess, is that they will televise it, but they'll edit it and they'll use their discretion as to what they want to show.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
No, thank you, Yoli. She says, poor Andrew, he's worked out.
Right?
That's okay.
Yeah, I know you were good. Yep.
I just finished my energy drink. See, that's an energy drink. So I'm good. I'm good to go.
Okay. Peb says Wade Bird had a question. Wade Bird, where is it? How far up? Yeah, I guess he had a question for a while here. Okay, I missed it. Okay, can you explain what you think happened on the 14th and 16th? Why was the 16th closed too? Any hints from documents that were dropped?
I thought they continued both of them to the 30th. That's what I thought. I thought they continued them both to the 30th. And I don't know. I'm just guessing that they want to have witnesses and they didn't have their witnesses lined up. Maybe the witnesses couldn't make it. Because I did notice that there was an earlier motion to have witnesses appear by Zoom only. So it might have been a technical thing. Sometimes when you have these experts, these paid hired gun experts, as good as some of them can be, they're busy. And so maybe they had a conflict. Maybe they had a death in the family. Maybe they had, who knows? A lot of times these scheduling things are not nefarious. Yeah. And a lot of times it's just logistical reasons.
They got another case going on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The sheath may look at what. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. What did Rachel Churn just say? The sheath makes no sense. How could it be found partially under a victim's body, but only BK DNA was found on the sheath? As gruesome as the scene, the victim's DNA would 100% on the sheath. Yeah, that's never made any sense. I would agree.
I know.
But again, that's a fact question, not a law question.
I know, and I got my opinions on that, and I won't do that here because I know you have to go by. You like to go by law and the facts that you have seen.
Yeah.
So, didn't that have to do with the state's motion to limit testimony? That's the limit testimony. I mean, that's the one that gets to me because I think they're trying to limit what Cy can say. And do you get that feeling?
Well, not only Cy, but also the IgG DNA. I think my guess is that it's both. I mean, Pebbles may well be right. But it might be both of them. It might be IgG DNA because they're still fighting over that. So, and we don't know because again, all we have is Ann Taylor's response to the state's motion to limit testimony.
Right.
And the state's motion, as of this moment, now that could change, but as of this moment, it hasn't been made public, despite my requests.
4 requests.
Three. Well, if you count the one I just made on your show, 4. Yeah, you're right. 4.
Right.
You think Ann Taylor watches your show?
I wonder. I know other people have because I've heard other people from Moscow. Yeah, I've heard that. I
got this when I first started doing the Kohberger case way back before the holidays of about a year ago now. I came into the case kind of late and I started doing my own analysis. and I got a couple of really strange, deep, long emails. They went down into the innards of my detail section. They found my email, and they wrote me this very long, Dear Attorney Myers, as an attorney, you must know. And I love when they start with that tone, because they're trying to set themselves up as like some authority. As an attorney, you must know that you're treading on very dangerous territory to be commenting on this case, and the court would certainly want you to. And at first I thought, either it's a wacko or somebody that really deeply is involved in the case at an administrative judicial level. So I told a friend of mine who I confide in, and they said it could well be somebody on the inside of the case, because they're watching. They're watching, and I don't want to elevate falsely myself to think, oh yeah, they're watching me, because I'm just one little. There's so many true crimers out there, and there's so many attorneys out there. There's so many attorneys. Some of them are very good, some of them are not so good, but there's so many of them out there. How could they watch all of us, especially since I'm a newer person and I only have the subscribers that I have?
You've grown. Yeah, you've grown really nicely over your time, though. It's very quick.
Slow. But my point is that there's so many people out there, and there's so many people out there, and some of them have, hundreds of thousands of viewers. And so, I mean, why would they watch me?
I don't know about that. You're growing pretty good. Yeah, I think you're growing pretty good.
We'll see.
It's tough. It's hard to get. I know the whole sub situation. I know all about that.
Yeah.
It's hard to work, but you've grown pretty good. Yeah, and I've been there since. And I don't know why you came up on my stream that time, the very first time. And geez, you only had like 100 people or something.
We started out. I told you the history. If I told you the history, stop me. But I started out thinking there's so many true crimers out there, and I'm a civil attorney. I do mostly I'm a civil litigation attorney. I do mostly civil stuff. I figure there's so many true crimers out there. I don't stand a chance. I mean, why compete against so many people? So I started out doing civil law subjects, like how to drive in a roundabout. What's the law? How many people get busted for drunk driving, and what a bad problem that is. What about distracted driving? That's a big problem, and we would cite statistics from the National Highway Transportation Agency. And so we did all of these things that we spent a lot of time. We actually would go to a roundabout and a rotary and document the 3 different types of roundabouts and rotaries, and nobody gave a rat's what about it.
Right. Well, I'm talking when I first seen you and
Laney Law.
Yeah, Laney Law. It might have been 500 or something. It was a low number anyway.
Yeah.
And I've watched you grow, and you've grown pretty nicely.
And I've thought of going back. Every now and then I've thought about going back to doing some of the civil law subjects. every now and then. See, you laugh.
Well, actually, there's people that want to know that stuff out there, though, and now that you got a good base,
Well, so every now and then there's an interesting civil case, like an aviation case.
I bet there is.
Products liability case, or a class action case. There's just so much fraud, and it warms my heart when I see that there's been a class action case against a fraudster. So every now and then I think about going back to that, and then I go, yeah, no, it's just I don't think there's I don't think people really care.
I was involved in a pretty heavy civil case over the murder of my son, and that was a 5-year battle. But in the end, I kind of wish I wouldn't have done it. But
now Yoli is mentioning the body part cases, and we did a couple of episodes on the body part cases, and they really got very few views. The guy that was the head of the Harvard University morgue, who was bringing the body parts home, only lives about 2 towns over from me, and his wife and I think I think I can take alleged out of the sentence because she's taken a plea, and I think he's close
Right.
to it. Anyhow, the wife would take these body parts over to the Manchester, New Hampshire post office and mail them. I go to that post office all the time. In fact, I know somebody that works there. I'm like, oh my god. So I wonder how many times I was standing in line waiting to mail my boring legal stuff, and I was standing in line in front of her and back of somebody that had a liver or a head or a kidney. But
boy.
it just yeah, we did a couple of episodes on that, but they just they didn't perform well, so I stopped doing them.
All right, Rollo's got a question here. What do you think about the 4 DNA profiles submitted to CODIS and the 4 family trees built, but only 1 DNA acknowledged?
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, it's what happened to the other 3? What happened to them? Where are they?
Where are they?
I don't know. It's just one of those things that's really mystifying about this case.
Is Anne? That's got to be part of what she's asking for, right?
It's got to be. She's submitted these very detailed discovery requests, some of which more recently have been under seal. So who knows? Yoli says I need to wear gloves when I go to that post office.
Right. Hi, Yoli. You're doing a good job, by the way, girl.
You should have her on.
Yeah, I should do that. She can jump up if she wants, actually. Maybe we'll set a time, maybe. And then
okay.
I'll better do that.
Okay. Now, this case is just one of the craziest cases I've ever seen, and I mean, it started out on a bad footing because it's just the TV and newspaper people were just pounding away for those first 6 weeks after the murders, and there's no suspect. There's no one that's been taken into custody. This case is unsolved, and they just pounded away at that for 6 weeks, and so there was a lot of pressure to get the guy, and they got Mr. Kohberger by hook or by crook, and did they cut corners? Your viewer just mentioned the 4 DNA family trees. Of course they cut corners.
Right. Yeah. Now I'm hearing what did I hear? That something that Payne might have done. What did I just watch here? Oh, it's an important one too. That he might have bypassed something and did something really stupid, getting the who had that video out? Oh,
I don't know. The biggest thing about it is that it just took them so long to get somebody there. It's just even after the 8
that is
hours,
crazy.
It took them so long. I mean, homicide investigators generally are there immediately. They're there right away. They're standing by and waiting to go. And I guess they're just not trained to do that in Moscow. And I give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Because they hadn't had a murder since 2015. And so they were kind of asleep at the switch. But then again, you can't forgive the fire department for not putting out a fire. Oh, because we haven't had a fire for a while. So, they should have these standards in place in case something happens, or at least to go there and seal the place off until the homicide investigators get there. So it's just been a crazy case from the start, and it's not getting any better.
Oh, Pebbles and Yoli have been on panel together before, it looks like.
Oh,
okay. That's cool.
I don't know Pebbles, but I see her on your podcast. I think I see her on a couple of other podcasts. I skip around, like, for example, the Karen Reed trial. I watch different people streaming it. Sometimes if they get too chatty, I ditch out and go to another one. But I think I see her on some of these other channels.
She goes in chat. She goes in chats here and there. Yeah.
I've seen her. Yeah.
Oh, well, let's see what she's got to say here, because she usually has that one. No. And what do you do when I'm just gonna tell you, most of us here believe that we know who did it, and we believe that maybe Brian even knows, and that's why he said, was there anybody else arrested? And it has nothing to do with Kohberger or nothing, because he knew he was gone. So I mean, I'm all over that rabbit hole. But is there a way, like if you have information, it's Anne's job to prove that he's not guilty, but can she prove that he's not guilty by proving somebody else is guilty?
Well, I hate to keep going back to the Karen Reed case, but that is what's happening in the Karen Reed case. She is accused she's accused allegedly of killing her boyfriend she was mad at him, she had intent, and she backed into him with her Lexus SUV and killed him.
Oh yeah.
So
okay, I have read a little bit on this. Yeah.
That's the accusation, that's the charge.
Right.
But the defense is not only saying that there's reasonable doubt, which they've raised in 3 weeks quite well, they're also saying it was someone else that John O'Keefe went into the house and they got into a fight and the fight went too far. This is the theory. And they're one of three guys, or two of the three, or all three of them got into a fight with him, and the fight went too far and they hit him too hard and they realized he was going to die. So they threw him out on a snowbank and figured, well, Karen was so drunk. Again, all of this is allegedly. So allegedly all of this, but anyhow, that they beat him silly and he was going to die. So they threw him out on the snowbank and they said, well, Karen was drunk as a skunk, so we'll blame her. So that's an example of what you're talking about, that the third party culprit. Not only is the defense saying there's more than reasonable doubt, or as some people like to say, poking holes in the case, not only is there reasonable doubt as to her guilt or innocence, or in Brian Kohberger's case, his innocence, but we have a theory that somebody else did it. So yeah, that's a possibility. It's icing on the cake. Probably a bad analogy, but all Ann Taylor needs to do is prove that there's reasonable doubt, and then she gets an acquittal. But I mean, if she can prove that there's a third party culprit, is what the law calls it, she can do that. But we haven't had any indication that she actually has that. In order to raise that in the Karen Reed case, you can't raise that unless you file notice of doing that in advance and the judge allows you. So the judge said she had something like 3,500 pages of motions in advance of that trial, and that was one of the motions to allow them to bring that. So,
wow.
I haven't heard. Have you heard or read of? Have you heard, read, or seen? Have you heard, read, or seen of Ann Taylor actually coming up with a theory like that? I have not.
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. I'm just wondering, like, if she gets stuff that is being sent to her, and if she comes up with something, can she bring that up in trial? And she might not be saying anything about it now, but and do lawyers do that if they have something? Does the defense have to give disclosure if they have evidence that? It's kind of that way with the alibi they're making, which is kind of strange. I mean, that's different. I've never heard of a state like that, I guess.
Well, yeah. If you're gonna have this third party culprit defense, yes, you have to give notice of it in advance, and you have to have proof. You can't just say, "I think it was the frat boys," or "I think it was the Banfield crowd," or you can't just say that. You've got to tell the court that you have some kind of valid
evidence
basis for the evidence basis, something
for
it. And then the court either allows you to bring it up or doesn't allow you. It's not like just raising reasonable doubt and throwing the proverbial mud up on the proverbial wall. No, you've got to have something to support the theory. So, I mean, I haven't heard or seen that yet.
Right. No, either have I. Yeah.
Heather.
What? Yeah. Okay. Like, yeah. What if Brian told her though? Like, what if Brian did know? Because maybe he,
you got to have evidence. You can't just. I mean,
you can't just say, right?
I can say I'm a millionaire, but unless you look at my bank account and see what
Right.
I have in, you've got to have. You can't just like say this stuff. You got to have some kind of a legal
Right.
basis. You got to have some kind of grounds. You've got to have, some evidence. You can't just, there's so many crazy theories in this case that you can't just,
Yoli.
I'm not poor. Now, does she mean I'm poor because I'm a poor excuse for an attorney, or I'm poor because I have no money in my bank account, or I'm poor because of your viewers are attacking me?
Right.
I don't like any of those. I don't like any of those.
Right.
Is it too late for Ann Taylor to advise the court that the defense is putting on an affirmative defense? I don't think so. No, but what is the affirmative defense? What is it? Where is it?
All right.
I don't know how many times I can say it. She's got to have evidence. I think she's doing a good job just poking holes in the case.
Right. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, folks. You know, she's just going to have to keep poking holes in the case, and hopefully they can prove that Brian took the right turn. Yeah.
And here's a legal question from Ginger Peoples. Hi, Ginger. Right. I want to know why there was never an actual interrogation done with Kohberger. There was none done.
There's never. I agree.
Well, what about the good old Fifth Amendment? I mean, once he was arrested, he had an attorney. He had an attorney in Pennsylvania. And then when he came to Idaho, he was assigned an attorney right away. And they would have told him, you have a Fifth Amendment right not to make any statements. I have something in my throat. I'm sorry. So once he got to Idaho, he had an attorney who advised him of his Fifth Amendment right not to speak. So that's why there wasn't an interrogation of him. He has no obligation to give a statement. I give that advice all the time. I mean, I've had clients as recently as this week. Everything's confidential. I would never talk about a specific client or give a name, but I had a client this week that was having an issue, and the police department, wanted to have her make a statement. They said, we just want you to come down here and set the record straight. And I told her, no, by all means, do not go over there. When they say they want you to go over there and set the record straight, that means that they're going to ask you 14 questions. They're going to ask you the same question 14 different times in 14 different ways. And the first time you deviate even just a little bit by saying, oh, the person's shirt was green. No, the person's shirt was teal. They're going to say, put your hands out. We're giving you the cuffs. So over the years, my clients who have taken that advice have done better than the clients that have not taken that advice. So,
right.
So that's why there has not been a interrogation of him.
Okay. Wasn't he interviewed though? Did you hear that? Was he interviewed?
Yeah, but they didn't record it in any way. It just
isn't that crazy too?
Absolutely. What was the other case? I think Richard Allen in the Delphi case. I think same thing happened. They had done an interview with him early on, but there was no record of it. And how can that even be?
Right. I mean, how can it be? How can you not record the most important interview ever in that state?
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of
Barney Fife.
Yeah. Yes. But it reminds me of Lee Harvey Oswald. He was arrested on November 22nd of 1963. And he was in the Dallas police headquarters, from Friday afternoon until Sunday when he was shot. And he gave in multiple statements. They had him downstairs and giving statements. Then they locked him up again. Then they said, "Oh, we got more questions." None of this was recorded. None of this was recorded. None of this was documented. None of this was a record kept by a stenographer. And I'm going to show you my age right now. And your listeners say, he can't be that old, but I am. At that age, I had a tape recorder because I was a little nerd. And for Christmas, I wanted a little reel tape recorder. So my parents gave me a reel-to-reel tape recorder with 5-inch.
So even you would have tape recorded it.
Even me, I was 10 years old. So now you know how old I am.
Right.
I was 10 years old, and I had a little reel-to-reel tape recorder, and I recorded like the space missions because I love to listen to them back. I would record my little friends and do little radio shows.
Yeah,
but even I, as a little 10-year-old kid, had a tape recorder. So why didn't the Dallas police record Lee Harvey Oswald? I mean, they didn't know that what was going to happen to him, but still. So,
I was 3 years old, but you know what? I still remember that day. Yeah. I remember my mom crying, and they were all around the TV, and I remember that. As crazy as that sounds.
No, but shouldn't every single police agency in every single little town or hamlet, or I don't care, I don't care how little the town is. I live in a relatively small town. Shouldn't they all, know that you record stuff?
Well, yeah, I how you go to garage sales sometimes, and I bought a bunch of these cassettes, right?
Yeah.
And this is back in like 95, 96, and I start listening to a couple of them. And one was one of the police officers in my hometown, which was 1,300 people. 1,300 people.
Yeah.
And he was doing an interview. What do you call
interrogation?
Interrogation.
Yeah.
To somebody, and it was very interesting. I listened to the whole thing because it was pretty interesting.
They actually had a police interrogation and a tape that was out for a yard sale.
Yeah, it was in a yard sale.
That's crazy.
I bought it in the yard sale, and I recognized the police officer. I knew who it was, and of course, he said his name at the beginning and everything, and I knew it was him because he ended up being my landlord at a later year. So I know it was him. But here's a town of 1,300. Well, and he's recording,
But I mean, this is 2024. I mean, come on.
I know.
We have instant communication all over the world. We have the internet. We have satellites. We have, all this great stuff. Shouldn't people have, I'm dating myself by saying tape recorders. I have a bunch of those little mini tape recorders. I used to love the little mini tape recorders, but now you don't even need that. Do you?
Yeah,
now we can. I have 3 or 4 of them actually. But now you can do that on your phone. You can do that on your iPhone. I do it on my phone. I actually do recordings on my phone. So I mean, who doesn't have an iPhone in this day and age?
Right.
And the little mini recorders that I like, those are cheap. They used to be expensive back in the day, but you can buy those at Staples for $29, I think.
Yeah, I got one of those micro ones. I got them because when I was making one of my CDs, my son's voice, I wanted my son's voice on one of the songs that I did. And,
cool.
And I got it on because he left a message on the telephone, and it had the little micro thing, so I needed a micro player. It took me a while to find one, though. It really did.
So back to how we got into this tape recording trip down memory lane.
Right.
This is the biggest crime that's happened in Idaho maybe ever. I don't know. And they have a suspect and at that point, he's only a suspect. That's all he is. Don't you tape the interrogation with him? Don't you tape it? Because then, as I pointed out before, the next time he gives a statement, you compare the two to see if he's inconsistent. I mean, that's basic police work.
And I hate to go down rabbit holes and stuff, but you add all of this up, Andrew, and they're hiding something to me. They're just there's just one thing after another, after another, after another, and it just seems to me like I don't know, like they're framing the door. I don't know.
Are they hiding something, or are they just that incompetent?
That's a good question, and you could absolutely be right there on that.
I mean, in the Alexander Murdoch case, the SLED, I love that SLEDs, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, they screwed that case up to a fare thee well. Right. I mean, you know, Paul and Maggie were laying there by the dog kennels, and Alex calls all of his partners and friends, and they're traipsing all over the scene. They're walking all over the place.
Right.
And then there were multiple other mistakes. I think there were statements that were videoed, and then there were statements that weren't videoed, and they didn't talk to people, and they did. And so SLED was lambasted. I remember watching that trial. It went on for about 6 weeks, and SLED was lambasted, but they still got their conviction. So that's what scares me about the Kohberger case. You know, we can be armchair critics of the law enforcement in Idaho all we want, but you know, SLED got their conviction, and I doubt if that'll ever be overturned. Alexander Murdoch can ask for 20 more trials, but I think that he stands little chance. He stands little chance.
Okay, Cindy Abbott here has got one. Anyone know if Ann has subpoenaed Bethany and Dylan? If so, are they not compelled to testify? I ask. There was
innuendo.
Yeah,
they would have to. No, they can be compelled, even though Bethany is now either in Nevada or California. I talked about.
They can be subpoenaed, right?
Absolutely, and there's a process under the U.S. Constitution and the Uniform Act in all 50 states that, yes, they can be compelled to testify. And if they don't want to testify, there's a hearing and accommodations can be made that they appear remotely. I mean, in this day and age, we're doing stuff by court call, Zoom. So yes, they can. Yes, they can absolutely be compelled to testify.
Does she have to testify?
Well, I mean, what's she going to do? Just sit there and say, I don't remember. I can't say. I don't know. I mean, you know, then you get into.
But she would have to make some kind of appearance, I guess, is what my question.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they want to testify? I mean, and this gets back to what we're talking about.
She's scared. She's scared. She doesn't even want to come around Idaho. She doesn't want to testify. She doesn't want nothing to do with the case. She wants. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if that's true either.
This gets back to what we were talking about before as to whether the thing is going to be televised or video put out on YouTube or anywhere else. The judge, again, in that November 2023 order where he said he's taking over the cameras, he said there will be occasions where we will not want to show the witnesses. So maybe they'll turn the cameras and the microphones off when Bethany or Dylan
that's
testified.
What I'm wondering.
So they would be. I don't know what he meant, but I'm just guessing that that's what he meant when there would be certain witnesses that would want to be protected, that they would not be included in the live feed. That maybe they'd go dark, fade to black, turn the microphones off, and let those two testify. That offers them some semblance of protection. Only the 12 jurors are going to hear them. I don't know.
Rach wants to know, ask why he think BK might be innocent and what led him to think that.
Well, I could go on all night about that one, but I mean, come on. I know people don't agree with me, but I'll say it anyhow. How does one person, one scrappy little guy, kill 4 people? Ethan Chapin, I don't want to be a sexist about it, but Ethan Chapin was an athletic guy that was in very good shape, a young guy that probably could have picked Kohberger up and thrown him out the window. And also the 3 girls. One guy does not commit an atrocious act like this. It's been said apparently that Kaylee had 54 stab wounds and the others were also brutally stabbed. One guy doesn't do it. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I don't buy that one guy did it. I do buy that it has all the hallmarks of drug people, of drug dealers, that have been wronged, that their inventory supply has been destroyed. They want their money or they want their inventory. I think it has all the hallmarks of that. That's only my theory. I don't know, but I can't.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't conceive of one person going into that house and committing that level of atrocity. It makes no sense to me. The story does not have the ring of truth. It couldn't have happened that way. They had been out partying all night. Sure, they were drunk, but they were up eating their, pizzas at midnight, and they were getting DoorDash deliveries at 4. Younger people, I know I'm speaking in generalities, but they do tend to stay up all night. Kaylee and Maddie were best friends since the 6th grade. They weren't going to see each other for a while because Maddie was going to go down to Texas for her new job. So why would
Kaylee,
they? I'm sorry, Kaylee. Yeah, Kaylee got a job in Texas, and so they weren't going to see each other. Young people do stay up all night. They do stay up all night. So if they're awake, how is it? And they said that Kaylee fought back, and probably Xana fought back. One person did not commit all of these crimes. And Red Rum, to answer your question, drug dealers don't generally tend to write their names down and document that. That's just my theory. I may be wrong, but I just don't. If I was on the jury, I'm saying no. One guy didn't do all this. Sorry.
Yeah, Red Rum's a good friend of mine.
Is he? He asked me.
He's from here, so he's from here, from around here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No. How would I know who the drug dealers were? How would I know?
All right. Yeah. Well, there is some suspicions, but you can't. That's all they can be.
We all have our own theories, but I just don't think it was one person. I just can't. I don't buy it.
Right. So Pebbles I have a question. In October 2023, they were scheduled to go to trial, but BK waived rights to speedy trial, and then again later claimed they were ready for trial. How in the world is that possible?
I know that he waived his right to speedy trial back in October of 2023, but I never heard that he was ready again. I thought Ann Taylor herself said that the earliest she would possibly be able to try it would be in March of 2025, and even that would be pushing it. I don't remember her ever, after waiving his right to a speedy trial, I don't remember her ever saying that they would be ready for trial, because she has this 51 terabytes of data to go through.
Oh my God. And that's another thing. Have you ever seen anything where, as a lawyer, when you get evidence from whoever the other lawyer is, don't you just get the evidence? They don't just don't they just take the section of evidence? I mean, instead of giving you 51 terabytes, don't they just say, okay, because they had to have gone through all of this, right? Yeah. Right? Didn't they go through all of this 51 terabytes? Aren't they supposed to cut it down and go, here's the evidence?
I'm not a member of the bar in Idaho, and I looked through their discovery rules, and I didn't see. I mean, if there's an attorney out there that can inform me, I think it'd be great to call me, email me, come on my podcast, give me, private consultation. In my jurisdictions, you're supposed to categorize discovery. In other words, I send you discovery requests. I send you 40 requests, and you answer by saying, okay, I don't have this, but I have that. That's at tab A or index A. And you are required to produce it in a manner, even it's in the manner in which it's kept in the normal course of business. You have to give it to us in some manner in which it's categorized and we know what it is. So I did look for that in Idaho's court rules. I didn't see it. I wish somebody would tell me, but no, if you're opposing counsel and I just send you a thumb drive with a bunch of stuff on it, you're going to be filing a motion. I'm going to be called in and sanctioned.
51 terabytes. Plop it on your lap. There you go.
That's
pretty much what they did.
Yeah, and I had a theory about that. I did an episode about that in which I suggested that the court stop even dealing with the discovery and appoint a third-party master. There are masters that'll come in, and if both sides agree, the master would take over the discovery and make a recommendation and help them get through all of this stuff. So I think that the court is very busy with other stuff, and they're never going to get through all of this discovery unless they get a full-time master in and take a look and resolve all of this. Because
that comes to my next question.
Yeah.
How do you think Judge John Judge is doing as a judge in this case?
I'm loath to criticize a judge because I go before judges all the time, and I'm loath to criticize. Most of the judges that I appear before are very well prepared. They've read my memorandum, they've read the other side's memorandum, or they've had a clerk read it and give them bullet points, and they ask me very sharp questions, and they get right to the point, and they allow me a certain amount of time to argue and answer questions. But boy, they'll cut you off. They'll cut you off if they think that you're rambling. So the judges that I tend to appear before tend to be pretty up on what's going on in the case, and they tend to keep a pretty close rein on what's going on. Again, most of what I do is civil, so most of what I do is civil. So I don't know. It seems like some of this should be. I think some of this, like I said before, should be farmed out. The discovery stuff should be handled by a master. Yoli and I had a long conversation about this one time, and she pointed out that the way they do it in California is through a referee. But it's the same process. It's a referee comes in. It's a neutral third party that both the prosecution and the defense agree to this person, and the referee comes in and talks to both sides and sees if they can't come up with a resolution, and they propose the resolution to the court, and the court will, unless there's something really outlandish about it, will approve it. So
okay. And then the question that Pebbles had earlier, I think that she meant to say Bill said that they were ready.
Yeah, Bill wanted to try it this summer because the school buses wouldn't be in the way. Remember that?
Right.
It was a couple of months ago. It might have been right around the holidays. I'm not sure. But he said that, oh yeah, sure, we should try the case this summer because there's a school right across the street, and the kids will be out and we won't be in their way. And so
yada yada, right?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But yeah, I'm sure he wanted to be. I'm sure. Well, here's a question: do you think it was a good move not to go with the Speedy trial?
Boy, I don't know. They must have known something. I think that's one of those things that we can't judge because we don't have all the facts. There must have been a good reason for her to do that. There must have been a good reason. Maybe there was a piece of evidence that was really inculpatory that they didn't know how to get around. Maybe my understanding is that Mr. Kohberger himself is kind of micromanaging this whole thing, and maybe he realized that there was stuff out there that she needed more time to deal with. So we don't know. We don't know what went into that decision.
All right. So you're hearing that too, that he's kind of behind the scenes a little bit, right?
Yeah, micromanaging it. Well, they say he had OCD. Obsessive compulsive disorder. I mean, there he was in the middle of the night with his gloves on, sorting through the trash.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I guess if I've never been in this situation, I never will be. But I guess if I was facing a potential death penalty, I would want to be kind of controlling what the what my lawyer was doing. I would want to be telling my attorney, what I thought should be done. So.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think we're probably got her down pretty good.
All right.
And-
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure having you again, and you
Thanks for
always
inviting
make
me
a good.
again.
Yeah, it's been a good show, and I think you answered a lot of questions out there. I do believe. Oh, Bonnie says finally some common sense. Yes.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Yep. That's why we love them.
Yoli just answered the question that I answered, but she answered it better.
Okay.
As a civil attorney, I think Ann Taylor would want to have all the discovery before trial, so I would waive speedy trial to get everything possible to exculpate me, and that's a good answer.
Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, Yoli, will you come on next time? We got to get her up there with you. Yeah, that'd be great. You guys are doing good on those shows.
We're trying.
Yeah, you're doing good. Yep.
All right, I got to go let the dog out, but this has been great.
Okay.
Again. I appreciate it.
Okay, I love you there, brother. Yep, you take care. And
Keep on rocking in the free world.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, that's one of my songs too, right?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, one of the
That's a
ones
great
I
song.
sing. Yep.
It's a great song.
Yep.
Great song.
All right. You take care, Andrew, and you have yourself a great weekend.
You too. Take care. Bye now.
Yep. Over and out. Okay, everybody had a good time and a lot of questions answered. Yes, and until next time, well, I'm just going to take a peek and see what everybody's got to say here, because there is a lot of chatting going on. Yes, thank you, chat. You guys, yes, thank you, chat. Yes, yeah, we need to get you on, Yoli. We need to get you on. I'll have Kathleen get a hold of you next time around. Thank you there, Bedrum, my brother. And yep, right, exactly, Jojo B. Yep, and there is Andrew's his link right there. I'm sure that the mods have been sharing it through the whole time. Yeah, and I love having Andrew on. He's one of my favorites to have on panel, and there's no doubt about that. And so there goes a Friday night, another Friday night, and another great show. And until next time, rock and roll. And this is a special little treat I got for you. This was sent in to me, and you'll know who you are. You'll know who you are. This is a 14-year-old prodigy doing Purple Rain with no words, just his guitar. Until next time, rock and roll.
yeah, and also thank you, Giselle, and everyone else who's come up on this stage tonight and contributed to the show. So, we'll play a little bit more, and we're going to smash it. stepping around your door. In the still of the night, I feel my heart being heavy. Tell me I gotta have more. In the shadow night, I see the full moon rise. Tell me what's in store. My heart is start aching, my body starts shaking, and I can't take no more. Close to you and taste your love so sweet, and I just wanna make love to you, feel your body heat in the still of the night, in the still of the night. I'm here, baby. Face from the sun, from the light of the day until the evening time, waiting for the night to come. Oh, baby. In the still of the night, in a cold light, I feel my heart is aching. In the still of the night. Your body